Hello, everyone, and welcome to Rising Stories podcast. I'm your host, Corrine Sandifer. On Rising Stories, we meet women who are changing their world. They are building businesses, writing books, and following their dreams. They share stories with us about their journey and their struggles along the way. We also talk about tips that have helped us live our lives with intention and purpose. We talk about best business advice, favorite apps, and our favorite things that we are loving right this minute. I hope this show will inspire you to live better, do better, and keep your dreams alive. Today on Rising Stories, I'm talking with Alli Worthington. Alli and I had the best time talking about her books, which she has 3 of them. We also talked about being overworked and her self-care routine, which I loved hearing about. Alli talks about the time that she hit rock bottom on being busy when she found something very unusual in her bra. This interview is filled with lots of great wisdom from an awesome businesswoman and author, so stay tuned. But before we begin, I would love it if you would join me on Instagram. That is where I share my productivity tips every Sunday. I do stories, Instagram stories, and I also share tips like how to categorize your to-do list and best practices for keeping your priorities together. And don't forget, the next week, I will be sharing my Friday favorites with you on the show. And now here is my conversation with Alli Worthington. Hi, Alli. Thanks for coming on.
Hi, it's so great to be here with you. Thank you.
I love all your book covers, and I am excited to read all of them. What catches my eye when I'm on your website is the Breaking Busy book, and I want to hear a little bit more about that.
Well, it's funny. It's not like anyone can relate to being busy, right? I was on a business trip. I live here in Nashville, and was on a business trip to San Francisco and booked a 6 a.m. flight home. Now, I thought it would be okay because of the time difference. I thought I could make it. I thought everything would be fine, and I did. I left my hotel. I was staying about an hour away from San Francisco in Silicon Valley area, and got to the airport, kind of drugged myself in after waking up on the shuttle after an hour trip, and realized once I was in the airport that I left my phone. I didn't know if I left it at the hotel. Yeah, because I got on the shuttle to go to the airport and fell asleep because, hello, it was 3 a.m.
Right.
And I thought, okay, last chance. Maybe it's on the shuttle. Maybe if I call it, the shuttle driver will turn around and bring it back to me. I was going to save the day. And so I borrowed this sweet couple's phone right behind me and said, I just need to call my own phone. I'm so sorry. I kind of snatched it out of their hands. And as I'm calling the shuttle driver to have my big moment, to have him turn the shuttle around, I called my own bra.
You could stuck it in the bra.
Yes, I put my phone in my bra on the shuttle, fell asleep, forgot that I did it.
Oh, my word.
And that was that moment for me where I was like, I have reached my capacity. I'm way crazy busy, and I'm calling my own bra in the middle of the San Francisco airport to prove it.
Oh, that is hilarious.
So I mean, it's just, that's my life. So I flew home, and the whole flight's home thinking, I've got to figure out how I'm living. I got to break out of this habit of crazy busy so I can actually be productive. I can be a good wife, a good mother, a good business owner, because I got to break busy before busy breaks me. So that's where the idea for Breaking Busy came from.
And what have you learned now? Because that was your first book.
2016.
And so what have you learned from that experience, and now having written the book, and now it's a few years later, are you still that busy? Have you gotten busier?
Well, it's a great question. I do go through insane seasons of busyness still, just because of what I do as an author and a speaker. Fall is really busy. So we're recording this on Halloween. My last book came out October 2nd. I have been speaking every weekend, and my life is doing a lot of book promotion as well as taking care of all my clients. So now I can go into a season of busyness and know, hey, this next month or this next 6 weeks is just going to be bananas, and give myself permission to survive it. But it's completely different when we go into a season intentionally knowing it's going to be bananas, as opposed to just that living our life in that all the time and feeling kind of like we're a victim of it. We can't break out of it.
Right. Now tell me, what is your self-care routine when you are walking into that season of busyness? And just because you're right, it ebbs and flows, and there are times in everyone's life that's like, okay, this is a crazy season and I know it. And so what is your self-care routine for those times?
For me, I consider myself a high-functioning introvert.
Mm-hmm.
So I can be around a lot of people, I can have a great time, but I need a lot of time alone. And I have 5 sons and I'm married, so it's hard to get time alone. So as I'm preparing to go into a busy season, or I'm in a busy season, I will intentionally carve out time for me just to relax and think and be calm and read. Some things that I love going to movie theaters. So as I am watching movies, as I was heading up to this busy season, one of my sons and my husband, we went to all sorts of movies because I just needed that investment in myself of doing something really fun. So a lot of people think of self-care as like getting pedicures and manicures and bubble baths all the time. But for me, it's as simple as not being on social media, because social media, we know the research, the more we're on it, the more we're stressed out, because we can't help but compare. So I limit my social media time. I have a lot of downtime, and I go to see a lot of movies. That's what I love.
I love that too. I think that everyone needs to find their own little, like you're saying, some people love to get pampered, and I remember years ago, a friend of mine gave me a spa package, and here I was sitting in the bathtub, with all these herbs and sweet smelling candles and soft music, and I was like so bored. I was like,
yes.
I was like, when is it? And she was like, I'll be back in an hour. I was like, a whole hour here by myself? It just wasn't.
Yeah, do you have Wi-Fi or a book?
I know. I was like, what am I going to do? Plus, you're sitting in the bathtub naked. It's like in a strange place. It was just it was not me, not something that I would want to do for a whole hour. But yeah, totally. So I think you need to find, I think every woman needs to find what they are, what is their self-care, what does it look like, and it's different for everybody.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So now you've written this latest book is called The Year of Living Happy, and you said you were saying it's a devotional, so it's just a 365 entries.
Well,
it's
actually 100 short chapters, but the name came from, I spent a year studying every bit of research that's ever been done on happiness. So positive psychology, happiness studies that have tracked people for 40 and 50 years throughout their lives. What makes for a happy life? What are the habits, these little small habits that we can have that really make us happy? What things do we chase that don't make us happy? And so I spent that year studying everything I could on happiness, and then divided all of what I've learned into just 100 really short chapters with some journaling space and some action steps, because honestly, 365 would be overwhelming. I feel like 100 going over for a whole year is just great. A lot of women are buying copies to give to their team or their coworkers in the new year, and they're just going to go over a short chapter twice a week on their lunch break and kind of go, let's make 2019 the year of living happy together. So it's so fun to see how people are using it.
And what is something that from that book that you incorporate in your life to bring that happiness, that finding contentment?
Well, I think just from all the research, the 2 things that really lead to a happy life are contentment and connection. We find contentment through the discipline of gratitude. And I call it a discipline because it doesn't come easy. Everyone says, make your gratitude list, set your intentions at the beginning of the day, say what you're grateful for. But most of us just don't do it. We have to really focus in and go, even if it's just 3 things that I'm going to be grateful for at the end of every day, I'm going to do it. And then what it does is it sets our mind to look throughout the day for things to be grateful for. So Connection, on the other hand, is completely different. That is relationships with other people. So the greatest thing we can do for our happiness throughout our lives, according to research, is make sure that the quality of our relationships is good. Make sure that they're healthy. So that's with my good friends, my colleagues, my husband, my children, to make sure that every day I'm investing in the relationships, because it's truly our relationships that lead to a very happy or unhappy life.
Mm-hmm. That is so true. So true. How long did it take you to write this book?
About 6 months. Oh. Because I had done all the research already. Mm-hmm. I mean, honestly, I could have done it faster, but because my week is spent, for most weeks, coaching clients and working on different projects, the way I write books is when I'm not traveling on a weekend, I write all day Saturday.
Okay.
So I just block off time. I can't switch back and forth between like productive time where I'm working with people and we're working on strategies, and then all of a sudden go, for this hour or two, I'm going to be creative and write. My brain just can't switch back and forth like that. I have to have a whole day that's blocked off.
You want to get into the writing mode.
But throughout the week when I have ideas, I always capture them. Mm-hmm. Because for me, as much as I think I will remember them when it's time to write, I don't. So like right now in my office, I have a whole wall that's getting covered in Post-it notes from just
how to use it. How do
little
you
ideas?
Post-it notes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because I'll be taking the month of December, so Saturdays in December, and if I have any extra days, and writing kind of the outline of the next book. Mm-hmm. But for months, I've been adding Post-it notes in different areas, like color-coded Post-it notes, and kind of decorating my wall with my thoughts for the next one.
And where are you when you're writing these Post-it notes? Are you like in the car, or you're like just wherever, in the kitchen?
Yeah, wherever it comes to me. If I'm out and about, I use voice to, audio dictation on my notes. Mm-hmm. And then I transfer those to Post-it notes. And then I start moving the Post-it notes around and different themes for different chapters and different topics.
Oh, that's great. That's a great organized way to do that.
Well, you say that, but you should see my wall.
But maybe it's not.
No, it works
it
really well
like
for me because I'm visual. Mm-hmm. I like to just stand and look at it and let things come to me.
Yeah. And your book, Fierce Faith, A Woman's Guide to Fighting Fear, Wrestling Worry, and Overcoming Anxiety. Boy, you hit all of them. Like, if you don't have one of those as a woman, then you're not breathing, right?
That's very true.
So tell me about that book, because that is a fascinating title there. Very interesting.
Sure. It came out of a season of my life where I've never been one to even think that I was fearful or that I struggled with anxiety or worry. And I had different people come to me through the years and go, I don't know how you're bearing the weight of the worry that you're carrying. Like, they saw it affecting me, but I just would call my fear or my anxiety, I would call it stressed. Mm-hmm. And in my mind, I didn't think I had a problem because I thought everybody just kind of lived and operated at that same level. But for me, my husband got very sick with, just out of the blue, a chronic health condition. He developed a very severe form of adult onset asthma.
Oh, wow.
So he would go from being healthy one week to getting a virus from one of the boys and getting pneumonia and being in the ER and not able to get enough oxygen the next week. Mm-hmm. And through the years, it had just worn us both down. And I knew that once I woke up to what just the average amount of fear and anxiety I had, but then going through this really dark, scary season with my husband, I wrote that book in the middle of walking through the season of going, what are all the fears that women have? Is it, and each chapter is a different fear that I tackled, whether it's a fear of betrayal, a fear of failure, a fear that we're missing out, a fear that something is going to happen to our children. And I really wanted to dive in to find out, what is all the research, again, because I'm super nerdy, what does the research say? And what do we do? It's easy to go, we pray about it, we trust God, we do this, we do that. But when we wake up in the morning with a pit of anxiety, this ball of anxiety in our stomach, what do we actually do? So I kind of went about it with each fear that we have of all the common fears, and created a battle plan. Step 1, step 2, step 3. Here's what we actually do. Because as women, we are all stronger than we know. We just need the tools to get to where we want to go. So Fierce Faith is really a battle plan, a manual for whatever fear or worry you're wrestling with. You can open up that chapter and dive in. It's funny and humbling all at the same time to me that I will often go through something in my life and then have to open up the book that I wrote and find out, like, what am I supposed to do in this situation?
Yes. Yeah. Wow.
And it's helpful every time.
I bet that is a book I'm going to have to for sure get and read. That's really hitting right at home. How is your husband now? Is he better?
Well, it's funny, when I finished the book not knowing what would happen. Mm-hmm. And he has been now in remission for over a year. And it's doing great. Goes skiing every spring. I can't ski. I'm not coordinated, but is doing amazing. And we look back on those, I think it was about 3 years of our life, and just shake our heads and go, it's amazing we made it. It's amazing that he made it. Just never being able to get enough oxygen. But wow. Yeah, he's in full remission. Not even taking medicine, like just doing great.
That's awesome. Oh, that's good. So tell me about a day in the life of Alli. What do you do? And I'm sure it looks different every time, but recently, besides this, you're probably doing tons of podcasts because you're promoting your book, but normally what do you do?
That's a great question. Yeah, if I'm not traveling and it's not speaking season, my husband and I get the boys ready for school. I will immediately spend some downtime and kind of set my intentions for the day and have prayer time. And then I will jump in to work at about 9 a.m. And I, on average, will do about 5 coaching calls with business coaching clients with women throughout the day. And that's executives or women who own their companies or entrepreneurs. And I spend a lot of time just one-on-one, Monday through Thursday. And then throughout that time, I also do some recordings. I have a podcast, the Alli Worthington Show, so I work on that podcast and just jump in between all the fun business things that I get to do, whether it's coaching or the podcast or, preparing a message that I'm going to give. So I think every day looks kind of the same, but it's different and it's fun in a new way.
Mm-hmm. And you love to see movies. That's like your favorite pastime.
Do.
What was the last favorite movie you watched?
Oh, the last movie I saw was A Star is Born. Have you seen it yet?
I have.
Have you emotionally recovered from it? Because I saw it opening night and I still want to cry.
I liked it and I appreciated it. I was not like, this is terrible to say, but I wasn't impressed. It was great. Like, the music was awesome. But I don't know. I'm a big Barbra Streisand fan, so I'm like, how can you beat that? But
I've never seen any of the previous versions. Okay,
yeah,
I will
just watch it.
Okay, so I saw that, love that, and love Bradley Cooper.
Oh,
and
yes.
Yeah, it's Bradley I don't know what they did to him, but he looks very handsome in the movie as a crusty old alcoholic.
He made it look good. Yep, he made it look good.
He did. Like he almost made it look too good. Ladies, don't go after that type of guy, please.
Yeah, true. What was the other one that you were thinking of?
Loved A Star is Born. What did I see before that I loved? Gosh, we've been kind of on a movie drought.
It has been a slow few weeks.
There's bad movies, but I'm really looking forward to some this fall, because now that we're getting into, soon we'll have Thanksgiving, and with Thanksgiving we have a lot of great movies coming out. I'm trying to think of.
Have you seen Crazy Rich Asians?
I have not seen that one, but I've heard such good things about it. Yeah,
I had to see it because I read the book, and so they did it justice. And I love Awkwafina. She's like a comedian, and she's really good.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is we're big movie fans. My husband and I, we love movies. And about 12 years ago. I think it was 12 years ago. Yeah, about 12 years ago, we started. This might be sacrilegious for some people, but we started going to see a movie on Christmas Day.
I do that too. Yeah.
And like 12 years ago, nobody was seeing. I mean, like we might be the only, family in there in the theater, or maybe like 4, families or something, or couples. And now, like, it's hard for us to get tickets. But we did it just because it was just 2 kids. I just have 2 kids, and so we would open up presents, and we don't really do a lot. We don't really go all out on Christmas. We just. I feel like we go all out. We're Americans, so I feel like we go all out all year long.
You know what? I feel the same. We have a very low-key Christmas. Like, with all 5 boys, they know that we have $100 budget per child.
Yeah, I think
but
that's
they also
reasonable.
Get $100 from their grandparents, but they get stuff all year long.
Yeah. If something happens and they need something during the year, they get it. It's not like we're going to save up. Like when it's Christmas, you'll get a bike, or when it's Christmas, you'll get, your favorite running shoes. We sort of make it work, right? I feel like that's most people. And so we would finish our Christmas and everything and eat, and by like noon, we're like, what are we going to do now? So, so we would, and there's like the Dallas Cowboys are not playing. So it's like, what do you do? So we just would go to a movie, and like I said, now we can't stop. And then, now
what did you see last Christmas Day?
I'm not sure if I could tell you. It was either like that's the funny thing, but then I can't tell you what I got for Christmas either.
Well, I can tell you the movie. We went to go see Jumanji.
Yes, we saw that. That's what it was.
Okay, great. Mm-hmm. How old are your kids?
So now they're grown. I have a 25-year-old and I have a 17-year-old.
Gotcha. Well, so we went to go see Jumanji. My husband didn't go because he's like, I'm not going to the movie on Christmas Day. Y'all can go. And the 2 little kids, because they're all different ages. The 2 little ones were 9 and 11. Mm-hmm. And Jumanji was so hilarious, but there was a lot that was off color.
Oh, yeah.
And literally, I'm eating the popcorn, and my 19-year-old and 17-year-old, I can see them looking down the aisle at me like Mom, this movie, and I'm like, don't tell your father.
That's hilarious. Yeah. Sometimes we've seen those Star Wars movies. Yeah. If there's a Star Wars, we saw a lot of the, what was the Mockingbird?
Oh, To Kill a Mockingbird, or no, not To Kill a Mockingbird. I can't.
Now I can't remember the names, but those movies with.
Yeah, I know.
Something
what
fire.
Is it?
Now we can't remember.
We can't. It's funny because like everybody's seen all those movies. What is it? I don't know. We'll remember it as soon as we're done.
Catching Fire. That's one of the ones.
Yeah, but what's the name?
Now I can't remember what they are.
I want to say Twilight. It's not Twilight. It is Hunger Games.
Hunger Games. Yes.
Yes. Whew.
And then there's the other ones that are similar to Hunger Games, but it's, where they say, I volunteer as tribute. That was that was the Hunger Games.
Yeah, that's it. Mm-hmm.
But what was the other one where they decided to do where they put them in categories, like you were this, but then she was, and that's the name of the movie. It's like she's, it'll come to me.
But that sounds great.
It's a series. I'm sure you'll know what it is as soon as I can think of it. But tell me, Alli, what are your 3 favorite things that you're loving? I guess besides movies, we've kind of had like a 30-minute chat about movies. What are some things that you're loving?
That's a great question. I'm really into music. So I'm also really into the Enneagram. And so there's a combination right now of music and Enneagram through this singer-songwriter and composer who goes by the name Sleeping at Last. Are you familiar with him?
No.
And he is writing a song for each Enneagram number.
Oh,
and
goodness.
I am an Enneagram 7, and he's doing it 1 through 9. Enneagram 7 song just came out a couple weeks ago, and I love that song. I've had it on repeat. But I guess the combination of music and Enneagram for me is super powerful. I love the Enneagram. I use it with all my clients. And my husband's taking it. My kids who are grown have taken it. Love it. Do you know your number?
I'm a 7 with a 6 wing. Mm-hmm.
Oh, fantastic. I'm a 7 with an 8 wing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
I'm going to have to listen.
That means you're a little more of a people person. You're more of like life of the party.
Right. Yep.
Where I tend to be a little more focused and strategic. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm a little more intense.
Yeah.
I'm jealous of you 7s with a 6 wing.
Yeah, it's exhausting at times. I mean, I kind of fluctuate. I think sometimes when you said earlier, I'm a high functioning introvert. Mm-hmm. I do have my spells where I am just like, I'm done. You know, I've hit the mark, and it's time for, for me to not be around anybody. It's probably best. It's best. But then I'm also that person who, because when someone is surprisingly, people are like, oh, you're the life of the party, and you're, you're this, and, you never, like, I don't shy away from speaking, and, it doesn't bother me to stand up and speak to a crowd of 300 or whatever. But at the same time, if I write an article or something, I'm like in a fetal position about to, hit publish, and it's like, so I have those moments as well. So I do sometimes feel like I'm a high functioning introvert.
I love that. Yeah. That's what I'm loving these days.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look it up. So it's called Sleeping at Last.
Mm-hmm. And it's on Spotify, but also if you go to sleepingatlast.com, he gives the lyrics, the music, and he actually is doing a podcast episode talking about his creative process in crafting each song, and it's really fascinating. Mm-hmm.
Wow. I'm gonna have to check that out. What else are you loving?
Well, I can't say movies. Can't say movies at all. I'll tell you what I'm loving. I found, if I can be pretty girly, I found a new foundation that I love.
Yeah,
and it's from It Cosmetics.
Mm-hmm. I've not heard of that.
Finding the name. Hold on. It's It Cosmetics Your Skin But Better CC Cream, and I went to Ulta and it was sold out forever. I had to get it on Amazon. It is amazing. Anti-aging. It has this, hydrating serum in it, and it has a high SPF. Best foundation I've ever had.
Really? What do you like about it? Just smooth? Goes on smoothly? Does it?
It goes on smooth. It makes your skin look amazing, but it doesn't look like you're wearing foundation. Mm-hmm. But it gives you sun protection, because for a long time I thought that just wearing, sunscreen, face lotion would be enough, but after 2 hours it goes away. Mm-hmm. The sunscreen factor. So then when you're outside in the afternoon, you're just aging all the time. Mm-hmm. But with this, we get protected, because now that I've hit my 40s, I'm beginning to care about these things.
Yes. Well, Alli, thank you so much for coming on. I am just thrilled. I love all of your books, and I'm glad we touched on all of them, because I feel like they are all speaking to women, and such a great support for every stage in life that you're in.
Well, thank you so much. It's been wonderful to join you.
I really had a great time talking with Alli. She is awesome and such a great businesswoman and author. I also want to tell you really quickly that the movie I was thinking about was Divergent. I know you probably were thinking that in your mind, maybe even yelling it out while listening to this podcast. I just could not remember the name, but it is Divergent, and I enjoyed that series as well. Y'all, please pray for my voice as I talk for a living outside of doing this podcast, and it is getting weaker and weaker. Tomorrow I have 3 podcast interviews, and I hope that I'll be able to make it to bring you more and more of these awesome women and their stories. Thanks so much for listening, and keep rising in your story.